Alright, what's up world? Okay, I am doing a very first test with the new FRP chassis proto for the B2B. So you can see the difference. I've put the pods and the diffuser from my PCOO for the F1 version. So it's the same mini cube, brushless motor. I'm running the same battery, same ESC. I have a new metal gear servo in the front, and then that's what it used to be like with the Mini Q2 pod at the back and the T-plate. That's part of the chassis. So let's see how this thing goes. I've been setting it up a little bit. Sorry, I have my crazy hat on because it's extremely bright right now. So first impression driving it around is that it is a lot less bouncy at the back than it is with the pod and the T-plate. Now there is still lift of the inner wheel in the corner, but it seems to be a little bit less significant compared to the B2B. The first version, I mean. This is the B2B. And now for the power band, it's very different because now I'm using the sensorless, brushless instead of the stock brushed ESC and motor combo that I use normally in the B2B. But I think overall the fact that the rear seems to be just more composed, so understanding that it is the exact same diff and tires at the back, everything else in the B2B is the same. The only difference really is the pod assembly at the rear. What have I done to myself? And the chassis. So for whoever is familiar with this car, it's actually a good thing to run it with a straight axle at the back because it tends to lift the inner wheel in the corner. So it is very pronounced with this one because I think this feels softer actually. It's very different. It's a very different attitude, the springiness of this. It seems like the chassis overall has less flex, but a softer up and down spring than you have on this one. It's hard to describe if you haven't driven it, but so when you turn at speed you tend to lift the inside wheel quite a lot, and so you kind of play a lot on the diff, you know, especially on the RCP tracks. Not so much on my crazy track here. This is really like the torture test track, because nowhere on earth is going to be that bumpy for any Mini Z to drive. But this is actually, you see the way it kind of drifts but doesn't flip over or anything. So you see what I was saying, that it doesn't flip over? Well, that's unless you touch the wall at full speed. But it's a pretty interesting driving dynamic. I believe this is going to be able to achieve better lap times than the brushed. I'm going to have to do some side-by-side tests during the weekend. Oh, this is really awesome to drive now. Now that this is like that, you know what it makes me want to do? It makes me want to do a delta wing body, the same kind that I did for the 112 B2B. Because now that it can be really long at the back with the diffuser, it would be pretty cool. But this, I would need to try it with a larger, wider pod as well, like the LM, or maybe just some wider rear wheel, more offset, to plant even more the rear end on the ground. So increasing the footprint at the back. I really like the way you can just slide it with the brake when you enter the corner. It's really a cool dynamic. So my front has absolutely no grip. It's a very inappropriate tire. That's the way I like to run those trike. I like to run them with a lot of understeer, so this is no exception. Oh, this is going to be quick. Alright, so pretty pleased for very first time on the rooftop track with this setup. And let me show you what is this going to allow as well as opposed, of course, to the Mini Q2 version. So the good thing with this version, of course, is you can use any pod that you want. So that's why I'm selling this version without a pod, just the naked, the front basically, and you put whatever pod that you might already have. This one is going to allow to put any of the parts that I have for the PCO at the back, including the spacer here. So you see this kind of I don't know what's that, triangle shape rear end. There is the same doubling here with a spacer. So this is 3mm height from the, so this is the way you can adjust the height at the back. You can of course just put washers as well, but this is a pre-made plate for the back, so you can use that. You can use the diffusers, you can use the wing, you can use the RR pod, you can of course put any of the electronic you want in there, as opposed to this that only allows you to stick with the Kyosho size. And as well, you can change pinion size as well. This is fixed. So I think this is going to be a good thing, and of course, being FRP, this cuts my cost down to a lot compared to doing the carbon version. So this is going to be really inexpensive as well. So I'm going to keep on doing some torture tests and driving tests, and I will report as soon as I have a little bit more. In the meantime, like usually, film until you crash. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. And that's already done. Alright, that was quick. See you next year. Bye-bye.